Straight from Wes Craven's twisted mind, let's talk about Scream. So Scream is the Ghostface movie. You probably know him from every single Spirit of Halloween you've ever been to, with his face being plastered everywhere, or how people dress as him constantly. Or you may know him from Setsy Ghostface, which is the same as the regular Ghostface costume, but significantly more scantily clad, which also kind of defeats the point of the original killer, with anonymity being such a main feature of who it was. And Scream is pretty cool, actually. It's a deconstruction of the slasher genre, not like a Evangelion sort of deconstruction, but more like a satire of it, with there being a lot of bits in the movie where people just talk about what killers do. And it's very meta. And I think it really only worked for this first movie. I've seen some of the sequels. I really don't think any of the meta stuff works in them. What comes to my mind, I think it's either Scream 6 or Scream 5, but they have like this 10-minute feature where one of the actors just goes on this meta rant about sequels. That's so like weirdly out of touch. I don't even want to get into it, but Scream is really fun. It's a whodunit because nobody knows who Ghostface is, because you can get the costume anywhere at Spirit Halloween. And it's also just a lot of very silly tropes, while it also still manages to be very creative. The classic "Do you like scary movies" stems from the movie, and I think that's interesting because they only do it at the beginning of the movie. They don't really do much with it. And I think it's carried by, pretty decent acting all around. I think the acting is definitely better than some of the other movies of the time. It's not great, but it kind of adds to that silliness factor. And overall, Scream is a very silly movie. I don't really think it's scary, like, at all. I really struggle to think that. There's a couple parts I think are pretty cool. There's a part where Ghostface is holding the car keys to a locked car to spook somebody. That's pretty good. It's not really super gory either. It's all very like, Ghostface does silly things to kill people until the movie ends. And I think the twist in the movie actually works well. With it actually, well, I don't really want to, I try not to spoil the movies I talk about, but it's a well done twist that is very obvious, I think, to most people, but you kind of figure they do a couple things to throw you off that I think are fun. I think it's a better horror movie than a lot of other stuff just because it's silly. And I also think that there's a certain like lack of charm that all the sequels have that Scream does really well. Granted, I don't even know why the character is such a major mascot, honestly. Do I like Ghostface? Yeah, I own a Ghostface costume. I've dressed as him for Halloween before. So, like, yeah, of course I think he's neat, but I don't really think he's scary. I don't really think he's, like, a super cool mascot, But I think the main appeal with Scream is just that there's so much good with it. I don't know. I like Scream. That's kind of it. I kind of struggle to think of more stuff to talk about the movie without spoiling anything. But as said, the acting's pretty solid all around. I think all the writing is pretty okay. I don't think it's anything I'd call like movie of the year, but I think it's aged really well, especially around Halloween. I think I can like watch that movie whenever. I mean, I used to do like Scream marathons even back in the day, which is kind of funny because those movies, I really don't like the sequels for Scream, but I think that first movie really had a lot of charm and really understood what was going on. I think it's fun. I think it's a really fun slasher flick that never really succeeds at being scary. Granted, I don't know. I think a lot of the reason I'm just not scared of a lot of slashers is because I think modern news and other like recent events have kind of desensitized me to violence. I'm not really as horrified by anything as I used to be now that I'm an adult. But that doesn't mean the movie isn't like, I mean, it isn't scary at times to me, but I'm sure some of you guys might disagree. One of the things I think is a real classic is that it has a lot of staples with how Ghostface cleans his knife and just the overall presentation with the phone being such a major theme of it. I don't know. There's just a lot of good to the movie, which is has a lot of charm that I really struggled with Child's Play and a couple other movies I saw that I'm yet to make videos on. But Scream really has like the sauce. God, I hate not being able to go into like spoiler territory. But the whodunit part is really fun. Granted, I think a lot of it does kind of like, I don't know. The opening's really fun. The ending is pretty fun, and everything in between there is like, it's okay. You know, it's like, it's a perfectly good movie to watch, and I say that as a compliment, unlike Child's Play. I think it's a fun whodunit, but it's really best done if you've seen other horror movies, like, I don't know, Halloween, that's a good one. If you've seen Halloween, if you've seen Child's Play, if you've seen anything else in that, like, sphere, I think Scream is infinitely more fun. I think it's a lot less strong if it's your first one, but I think overall it brings something. It brings something to the table that the others don't, which is like a sense of comedy and like a sense of sometimes it's pretty serious in the scene, you know? Is it always? No, and it isn't very serious like 95% of the time, and when it is serious, it doesn't really succeed, because, you know, it's 2025, but it has something, you know? It has something. And I think it's just very easily digestible, and it's just a fun watch, you know? I think it's definitely better than a lot of other movies I've seen, just because it's so easy to just sit down and enjoy, you know? Ghostface is like such a horror icon now. It's kind of crazy how much this franchise blew up. Especially because I really think the fact they made sequels means somebody didn't get the point of Scream, you know? Granted, I do like that it has like its own movie series, I think, in canon, called like Stab, if I recall correctly, but it's been a bit since I've seen the sequels. But Scream stands alone with, I don't know, Woodsboro, I don't remember how to say it. It's cool. It's a nice setting to make everything take place in suburbia. It's a killer you can't catch because, you know, they're like anonymous. The phone thing is fun. It's a very fun movie. The choreography is really silly. There's moments that try to be scary. That's kind of all I have to say about it, actually. I mean, honestly, I could have made this one a minute just because I like Scream. I think it's chill. I think it's good. I don't really have a ton of complaints, honestly. I think the acting was okay. You know, it's like a sign of the times. And I guess my major complaints with Scream are more so just the fact it got any sequels at all, even though, you know, you could say it's a great movie, why not have more? Well, it doesn't really make sense for the whole satire aspect, but that's really more so how the other movies handled the meta-analysis of it. I think there's times when the meta stuff in Scream is kind of too much, like this movie, the first one. Like the movie nerd guy who doesn't shut up, sometimes he kind of hammers it a little too heavy with his meta-narrative analysis. Sometimes I think it's a little bit much. And I think the motive for the killer is really, I don't know, I don't think it makes a ton of sense. They try to talk about a bit, and like, there's also, with the main character, a big focus of it is on her mom who's dead, right? Who died before the movie. I don't know. I kind of think it would have been better if they showed that off during the movie, because it's a lot of like context they try to explain, but they don't do a great job of explaining it. And even after you watch the movie and they reveal it, it just doesn't really make sense. It doesn't really seem that smooth at all. And I don't know. I mean, like, yeah, I get it. I get what happened now after watching the movie, but that doesn't really mean it was that, like, worked into the narrative very well. It feels like they just had to, like, connect that somewhere, you know? And it's not a perfect fit, but nonetheless, I enjoy Scream. I think it's a good movie. You should watch it. If you take away anything from this, like, what are we at, like, 10-minute video? Please watch Scream. I think it's a good movie. even despite all its flaws. But I think it's a very silly watch. It's a slasher, yeah, but it's not like... It's not really scary, but it's not like, you know, just senseless violence either. It's just fun. It's just a fun movie for you to enjoy. That's it. Just watch Scream, okay? Yeah, that's it. That's all I have to say about it.